hug the frets. You're not supposed to play notes anywhere in here in between. You want to learn to hug the frets so that when you play notes, you know, you're playing a chromatic scale, or you're maybe learning arpeggios, but you always hug the frets. When you play chords, make them look like triangular shapes, different shapes. Everything, whenever possible, you hug the frets. Now, an A minor chord, it's physically impossible, but I've got my third finger and first finger next to the fret. Second finger as close as I can. Same thing with E minor. I've got the third finger right up next to the fret. The E chord, I've got the first finger. I add fingers. So your chords, finger placement is so important. You gotta have great finger placement to become a really good guitar player, or a great guitar player. Or you can improve your guitar playing by learning to hug the frets. Whenever you play, whenever I'm playing a solo, I'm hugging the frets. Those vibratos are right up next to the fret. You want to be right up next to those frets. So everything that you've been playing, if you've been goofing around or fooling around, make the rule. The best rule you could have is hug the frets whenever possible. This gets you to play in one way. Your chances of making mistakes when you learn riffs or scales or arpeggios is less because you're used to hugging the frets. Now, not on the fret, you don't get a good sound, but if you train your fingers to hug the frets, your flesh is right up against that fret. Then you're and your chords are better. Whenever we're even barring chords, your bar chords, hug the frets. Always hug the frets. That wouldn't be good. I would correct that. C chord, good old C chord, not like that, like this. Add that 7 next to the fret with the baby finger. So you want to hug the frets whenever possible. You get right up next to that fret. Your boogie, shuffle. You want to learn to get those fingers hugging. You might have to bring your wrist out. You might have to, I love this word, finagle. You might have to finagle a little bit, but you got to get the tips of your fingers as much as possible, and they need to hug the frets. Hug, yes, hug the frets. You got to hug it, man. That's the power of love, man. You know how you feel when you hug someone or someone hugs you. It feels great. It's right. It's the best thing. Same thing when you play guitar. You gotta hug it. You gotta hug the frets. That's how you get the real feeling and meaning into the note, your emotion. And being able to use the techniques and skills is when you hug the frets. Especially beginning guitar players, when you're learning the natural scale, you want to be hugging those. You want to learn to play that way all the time, even on your worst day. All right, so there you go.